Welcome back, folks, to, what is this, episode 2? Episode 2 of Age of Lemuria. I'm your master of ceremonies, the DM, the man behind the curtain, Lord Lucan. Check out my works, Amazon, Barnes & Nobles. Look up Dragon Prophecy, Prodigy, and Heresy. Those are my 2 books. Yeah, so go ahead and check that out, and we'll turn it over to Hunk Papa. What's going on with you, man?
Well, hello, I am Hunk Papa, also known as Jesse Zelif. I'm a professional dungeon master and author. My works will be published on the DM's Guild pretty soon, probably sometime in the new year. Currently having some trouble with publishing. Various factors behind the scenes are coming into play, but hope to get that out as soon as you can. You can look for that again at the DM's Guild. It's going to be the Thar series.
And we have some new bodies. Our paladin will be back next episode. He's had some computer issues. However, we have a new, fresh meat. Tyler, tell us about yourself.
Hi, my name is Taylor. I'm just a new player. I'm going to be playing a roughly 30-year-old male ranger, adding some range to the party. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen going forward, and we'll see what happens.
All right. Looking forward to seeing this new character come on screen. Scarecrow, who are you playing today?
I'm playing a elf rogue. He used to be a city watchman, and now he turned into a basically like an all-hands-on thief.
Not bad, not bad. Excellent. So, the screen comes back, right? And we get this overland scope of the continent of Lemuria. We see, if you guys open up your map, updated map for characters, you see this huge, vast area under the handouts. You see the camera going over like the endless ice, going down into the endless deserts and over the mountains of fire. These volcanoes are erupting and exploding. And then it goes and passes over the Golden Plains and stops momentarily on the Kingdom of Alkaline. And then it turns to the north, slowly, ever slowly. And then it goes over into the Silver Mountains, where we see these giant, massive redwood forests looming in. And then it goes through the foliage, right? Where we see a dwarf who is currently blindfolded. Currently you are traveling through the woods. You hear the thunder of the rain above. And you also hear birds and the wildlife chirping as you're passing under it. Rain spits and spatters. And you hear like this, the man that you spoke to and his guards, his company of guards, start to approach you. Master Dwarf, do you have a name? The elf asks.
For now, you can call me Adric.
It is an honor to meet you, Adric. Tell me, why are you traveling with this human? He gestures to this man who is currently bound, and he's currently got a blindfold.
So is Adric blindfolded?
He is still blindfolded, yes.
So Adric can't see any gesturing.
Oh. He asks you.
Right.
Yeah. But it's for the audience, right? The audience sees the gesture. But you don't, naturally, right?
This lad, we ran into each other on the road and he has served me well. I think I'll have use for him in the future, though he is but a child.
He will be interrogated. You see, like, these 2 elves come up, and the man, or the nobleman, who's in silks and everything, he, like, nods to him, and they take the paladin away, and the camera turns back to you, as you hear this, like, scruffling, like, hey, where are we going? Where are you taking me? Adric! Adric, you hear this cry of, like, hey, where are we going? Adric!
The lad has an item of mine I would like returned if you'd be so kind.
Is he a thief?
No, he is not. I allowed him to use it, but I would have use of it if he is to stay here for a time.
We will categorize his items. Do you claim any of them as your own?
There is a pickaxe. You'll know it when you see it.
Does this have some importance to you?
Aye, perhaps it does. I would speak of these things in private, though.
Getting your meaning, the elf, the nobleman. You can't see this. But like gestures for the other wood elves, and then the other wood elves like kind of scatter out in the field. You don't hear them moving, right? You do not hear them moving. And once again, you hear like the storm clouds above and the chirping birds. After a brief rustle of men moving away, he says, "You may speak now. Only the forest may hear you now."
Aye, forgive me if I don't believe you, but may I see it with my own eyes?
In regards to what? What do you wish to see?
That we are indeed alone. You know, the spies of the dragons are many.
Do you fear the dragon?
As much as you do, lad.
It's like this chuckling laughter as this like elf like looks at the camera as like if you are concerned about privacy, we shall head to the druid's circle. There we will have no one other than nature herself to listen to. Does this seem acceptable?
Aye, it does, lad. You know this area better than I do, and I would speak of these things far away from the ears that would encroach.
The elf gently takes the cuff of your sleeve and begins to guide you through the woods. As you're traveling through, go ahead and make a dex check to make sure that you don't stumble and fall.
Do you want a dexterity saving throw or just a straight dexterity roll?
It'd be a save. Definitely a save.
Let's see if I trip. It looks like I trip.
You stumble. You don't trip. However, you do make a clatter, right? You are not very stealthy. Toby's and Ramus. You see two figures, and you clearly hear this shuffling through the forest. In the distance, you see a elf with a short, stocky person being guided through the forest. They're not being quiet at all.
I'm so confused. What's going on?
This is like an anomaly, right? Normally, the forest, all you can hear is the birds and the woods, and then your own breathing, right? However, as you're like looking over and seeing this elf, and clearly a short, stubby human wandering through the woods, what do you guys do?
I'd like to approach these two figures. Hey, you there! What are you doing here?
The elf, who's currently guiding the short, stocky human, raises his. Shh. You guys know that in the woods, you realize that sound can mean death.
Oh my! I'll just kind of stand there in awe, I guess, and just kind of observe what's happening.
The elf gestures in this language, Ramses, that only you can understand. This is called thief cat.
What is he saying in Thieves' Camp?
He is saying, "Who is this human that's with you?
I
And
say
why is
back.
he so loud?"
I say back in Thieves' Camp. Honestly, I don't know who he is either. I just ran into him.
Gestures and says, "Trespasser."
I wouldn't say trespasser. I don't have enough on him to know.
So go ahead and describe yourself, both of you, as you like looking at each other and is like.
I'm just kind of stood there in awe, kind of confusion at the situation. I've got kind of brownish green studded leather armor on, and a heavy crossbow. And I've got stubble all over my face. It's not very clean shaven, but a relatively stocky man, and is kind of early and mid 30s, who's just confused at the hand signs to what's going on.
You've seen this before. This is actually quite common among the elves.
I still don't know what it means, though.
Oh yeah. They do this all the time in front of you, and you still don't know what this is. Yep. Maybe they're like, something's happening.
I've got no idea.
Rams is tall, lanky, kind of skinny. He's got one eye, wearing an eye patch, wearing black leather, kind of like a long black cloak. You're pretty sure he's got weapons like under it, but you can't see it yet.
The elf once again gestures to both of you to follow and like keep an eye on the hairy human. The elf whispers to you, Tobins. He says, "Are you part of the mercenaries?"
I'm going to whisper back, yes. My apologies for the disturbance.
Are you lost?
I don't know. Am I lost?
You tell me. Are you? Do you know where you're going?
No, I was just kind of looking. Okay, no, I've decided I'm not lost. I'm on my way to find someone to speak to about the next thing that I need to do. Okay. So as I reply back, no, I'm just looking for my next mission.
The elf nods to you and then offers you a blindfold. This is not the first time that the elves have done this to you.
For me?
Yeah.
As I wrap it around my head and tie it and...
He gestures for Ramses to take your cuff of your sleeve as well. Ramses, he gestures to you and he says, "So the ways of the druid must be kept secret."
I tie the blindfold around my eyes.
He shakes his head no. You're an elf.
Oh, then I just I say, well, I promise I want nothing to do with your druidic secrets.
He says, "I am no druid." He kind of like smiles at this. Like he usually like doesn't show any features at all, but he smiles at the assumption that this is he's in fine silks and clothing. The equivalent to what would you and your society, right? This guy is kind of like a pirate. This guy's a thief. What he does is that he's a merchant. He deals with trade on the river. Hellenistic River, which is a massive river that trades between the elf cities and the human city of Alkaline. That's why he can speak to you in Thieves' Cant.
Can I say to him, are we seeing a druid then?
He says, yes. This dwarf, and you've never seen a dwarf, by the way. How old are you?
My character's 330 years old.
You have never seen a dwarf before. And under your assumption, you think that dwarves are dead.
I say to him, so do you want me to follow you and the short, stubby, hairy human?
He says, once again, dwarf.
Okay.
He gestures and nods to you. He says, and then he gestures for you to guide the human as he is with the dwarf.
Okay, and I take them both by the hand.
No. He wants you just to guide the human while he guides the dwarf.
Okay, I take the human's hand and I whispered, watch your step.
Yep. You guys continue to travel through the forest. Once again, the rain and birds emanate. Go ahead and roll me a stealth check, all of you, as you travel through these dangerous woods. Much better. Interesting. Okay.
It's almost like being blindfolded and tied and being led by the cuff. Doesn't allow for a very
quiet.
approach.
Yep. Interesting. Shift you guys over. So the camera, I mean, you guys are like clunking through the forest, right? The elves are quiet. However, you're just chunk, right? As you guys make it way, we get a camera shot of like the two elves guiding the two blindfolded individuals to this massive tree. So there's these big redwoods, right, in this forest. We see these massive pillars of timber, thousands of years old. The two elves guide you here. And in this like forest of like great redwoods, there's one tree that stands out above, right? And he gestures for the rogue to come close, and he's like, the humans and well, once again, this is in Thieves' Cant. He's like, the dwarves and humans cannot know of this place. We get like a little subtitle and text. And if they ever leave this place, they must be blindfolded. He says that.
I nod to him and say I understand.
Coming out before you is like this elder elf. He's like wrinkled skin, right? So I will blow up his picture for everybody. Bring it to the front. There we go. This aged old elf comes out, and he's like, an elvish. I don't know if both of you can understand. He's like, what's all this racket going on here? What's it going on? You're going to bring down the entire undead army upon us. Mind you, he's yelling this out. So, breaking the silence of the forest, and like the elf, right? The elf who's in silk, so he like does this, and like he's like, you damn fools coming out here and disturbing the wildlife. What are you doing? And he like comes out and he's all crippled and everything else. He's like, what's going on? What's going on here?
Idric will speak up. Greetings, ancestor of the first. I advise you to hold your tongue, For I also know all too well the dangers of the plague.
Oh, do you, son? He like laughs at this. He's like, calling me a son, you young whippersnapper. Remove those blindfolds. The elf he shakes his head no, right at first, and then he's just like, the old man comes up to you, grabs the blindfolds off of you. He's like, I'll take him from here, boys. You don't have to stick around. And the elf's just like, Master, are you certain of this? He's like, I'm not alone, you damn fool. What do you think? I'm helpless? You think I can't take care of myself? And the elf's like, as you wish, Master. And he like bows to the old man before turning to leave. Before you stands this massive tree. This is like a huge, like you feel small, tiny, and insignificant. Endless woods. Ramsel, this is all normal to you. And Toby, you're always impressed by the horticulture of the elves.
Never gets old.
Adric, now that his blindfold is off, he undoes his binds and he looks around. He clearly scowls, displeased at seeing another human and a young elf standing beside him.
The elf in silks turns to leave as the elder elf starts looking at you. He starts playing with your beard and tugging on it, trying to figure out if you're real or not.
I am real.
He says, "Are you sure you're not some damn illusion?" He swats you on your forehead.
I was friend of Krusk. Perhaps you would still remember him.
Crust? I don't know no damn Crust.
Krusk.
No elf named Crust.
He was an order of your circle at one point. But that is alright.
He was part of the circle of Angakok? I think not. I know all my druids.
I've heard tales, ancestor, that the older elves do not keep their memory as great as ours. Perhaps they are true, huh?
He laughs at this, right? And once again, he tugs on your beard for good measure to make sure that you're not illusion. He's like, and what about the human? Who's the human?
Adric shakes his head.
If I may speak up, I am a mercenary that has often dealt with your friends in the past. I was brought here because I would like, if at all possible, another mission of sorts.
Adric shakes his head and sighs. To think that the firstborn would resort to using such children as their own pawns in their wars. What has your race come to, ancestor?
Chuckles at this. And he's like, hey, and we're still alive. Where's your people at?
Adric chuckles to himself as well. And he'll wink at the older elf.
The old elf takes no gruff off of you, and he winks back at you. He comes over to the human, right, and starts playing with his leather armor. He's like, "You real too, boy? Or are you some sort of illusion?"
No, I'm definitely real, sir.
There is one way my people know of getting rid of these illusions. If you would be so kind as to find me a hammer.
Interested to find out what you're planning to do with a hammer. He kind of gestures to an animal who's off to the side. By the way, he's by himself. You see a couple of wayfinders and rangers kind of standing around, kind of investigating you. They are currently have their arrows notched, and they are just watching you. But he, the elf, seems to not give two shits about anything. As he's like investigating, he's like, "Hey, let's see here, a hammer, huh?" And he like picks up a rock and he says, "For your people, a rock's good enough. Here, take this." Gives you a rock.
Okay. Adric's gonna walk over to the human and knock him unconscious.
What? Okay. Make an attack roll.
He knows in a pinch this is a surefire way to tell if this is an illusion or not.
Sure.
Let me,
So this dwarf clearly has a rock and is coming towards you. What do you do?
Aye, lad. If you're real, this will only hurt for a second.
Hang on. Whoa. I'm not about to let you hit me with a rock. That's not okay. What are you trying to prove? Of course I'm not an illusion.
You swing with your rock, but the human easily sidesteps it, right? You're still a little bit disoriented with all the trees and the forest and everything else. Yeah. Toys, you are still armed, by the way. This hairless, naked dwarf just attempted to whack you with a rock.
I'm not hairless or naked. You said I still had my armor. They just took my weapons.
That's right. You still have your armor.
As I like jump back, should I probably put my thing up on the board, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Go ahead and put it in the red area. So if you guys have your characters, go ahead and stick it in the starting area. This human comes around investigating each of one of you.
After Adric misses, he leans over towards the older elf. My people used to do this. If you knock one of these unconscious, it should revert back to its normal form. If it doesn't revert back, it's an easy way to tell it's real.
As I understand, Master Dwarf, you know nothing about the ways of magic.
My ways are not that of the ancient knowledge.
He says, I know, it's still rocks and stones. Sticks and stones. He continues.
These were, like I said, an ancient technique passed out.
Ramses, this guy starts patting you down. This is normal. This is a crazy old archdruid of this circle. You've probably met him within your 300 years of life. He's been getting a little crazy over the years. But that's what happens when you live for so long. Nothing like the Megases, nothing like the Grand Megas. You've had to suffer an ordeal with them multiple times. The curse of magic is starting to affect this older elf.
Enough of this trivial matters, ancestor. I would speak with you in private. I have news from the Undermountain.
The elf, says, yes, Master Dwarf. You and your sticks and stones, just hear all about them. He, chuckles at this. He's like, all right, you're all real. Follow me. He begins heading towards this massive tree. You see no entrance. However, as he walks up to it, he knocks on the wood, and the wood peels back, the bark and wood and everything, and it opens up into this massive chamber, and it's all hollowed out, and it goes up and up and up. Clearly, this house, druid circle, you're not quite sure, opens up to you. What do you guys do?
Adric follows right behind him.
I'm going to try and lag a little bit behind just because I'm a bit bewildered and suspicious of this dwarf, so I want to have a little bit of space between them.
Makes sense to me.
I follow along. I'm keeping an eye on the two outsider races, making sure they don't do anything funny.
I mean, they've already done hilarious stuff. They're too late on that. They've already broken protocols in so many levels. You have no idea what they're going to do next. Totally random spazzes. Not nearly cultural or civilized as you are. You step inside, and this old, weather-worn elf says, "You boys want any tea?"
Do you have anything stronger, ancestor?
He begins searching the shelves, which have different bottles of herbs and stuff like that. He says, "I got poison. That's strong enough for you, Master Dwarf."
At my age, I suppose I better stick with the tea. In my younger years, I might have taken you up on that poison.
The elf kind of chuckles at this, right? And you notice him taking the bottle of poison, and he just dabs a little bit into his drink. He offers you some poison, Adric.
Adric will do the same. He'll shrug and he'll do the same.
Okay. Tobias, this has skull and crossbones on it. Very obvious. Do you accept it? As he's cooking up this tea.
I appreciate the offer, but I'm good. Thank you very much.
Excellent. And of course, he comes and pauses at the elf, and he winks at you. Do you accept it?
I'll accept it, but I'll save it for later in my flask.
Excellent. So he gestures, and these wooden chairs spring out of the wood and the ground. You guys know this as druidcraft. The Wind Rider and Rangers nod to the master, the Archdruid, and they begin to leave him. In the corner, I want everybody to make me perceptions.
Got to get these low rolls out now before we go into combat.
So Ramses, you see a big bear in the corner. Clearly in the shadows. It's not hiding, but between the tea and poison and everything else, you're kind of I see a giant ass bear in the corner. The elves begin to depart. The wood once again opens and yawns for them as they leave.
Adric looks over his shoulder, watching them leave, make sure that they are gone. And as soon as the wood closes up, he relaxes a little bit.
Does this bear look aggressive?
It currently looks very calm. As if it is meant to be here.
Now, ancestor, if I may, what am I to call you?
Oh! You can call me Spud. You can do an insight here.
I will do an insight there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know this isn't his true name. He's giving you a alias.
Adric nods in understanding. Aye, and you can call me Adric.
Hello, Adric. How are you?
I am above the mountain, Master Elf.
Oh? I think you'd love to be under it.
Of course I would. Why do you think we haven't been seen around in centuries?
Because I thought you were dead.
Oh, we are rather homely. We prefer to stay where we are. But a matter of great importance to my people has forced me above ground.
There's more of you.
I would like to insight check him once more to see if Adric can really trust him with any of this sensitive information.
Of course, yeah. You know that he is concerned. This is a druid, right? So his loyalties are not to the elven people or anything like that. It is to the forest, right? His concerns would be of your people's industrialization and definitely crafting, right? So in the past, elves and dwarves have always had conflicts in regards to how they socialize with nature. Does that make sense? So he seems a bit like, first off, you're supposed to be dead. And second off, there's more of you. Right? So he's not quite sure how many more there are and how much of a possible threat you could become to his woods. Does that make sense?
Rest assured, ancestor, we have no intention of rising to the surface anytime soon.
You did.
I was forced to. I was hoping that perhaps one such as you would be able to help me return back under the mountain.
You don't know how to walk? He laughs at him. You don't know how to walk? He like laughs and like slaps his knee. It's like, that's how you do it. You walk down. That's all you have to do.
I searched knowledge of the time before the great sands stretched on before the golden plains. Word has reached us. He pauses and he looks around at the human and the other elf. And he leans in closer to the older dwarf, or the older elf, of the gold mantles.
Can I roll an insight check on that and see if he's like being honest and like that's what he's actually like wanting to try and investigate?
Sure. What are you trying to find out specifically?
I was trying to find out if there was any like inclination that what he's saying to the elf is actually true, or whether he's trying to just like say that to try and get out of the situation or something like that. I don't know this stuff, do I? So I like to try and observe his mannerisms and stuff like that.
So I think that's a question for Adric or Spud.
Yeah, I guess it's more of a question for Adric
Yeah.
since he's trying to observe Adric more than Spud. You can tell that Adric clearly doesn't trust you or Ramza. And he's trying to... I mean, you don't really know what he's talking about, right? But you get the feeling that he doesn't want the two of you to know.
Interesting.
So the elf kind of eyes widen at the mention of gold mantle. He takes a sip of his tea. And he sits down in one of his chairs and leans back.
I also come bearing news from one of our ancestors. They have sent us a message that I have just now received. Would you be interested in aiding me in my search, ancestor?
I believe that is a persuasion. As you're
Let's
attempting
see.
to get him to help you, right?
Come on, -1.
So he leans back in his chair. He says the gold mantles haven't been around for over 500 years. They're dead, long gone, along with the mixed kingdoms. Happier times.
Adric would like to roll insight
Long ago. Yeah,
on
go ahead.
his claims.
It could be lying. Could not be
I
lying.
know it's hard to believe, but perhaps the information I have might convince you otherwise. As he lowers into a whisper and raises his tea.
Roll me a con save.
I have advantage on this, and I have
Yes, at this
resistance
point.
to the side effects.
Good. Good. Excellent. Wonderful. You feel yourself kind of like starting to like nod off at like this poison, I guess. Yeah. Is anybody else drinking, by the way? Everybody seems to be drinking. Anybody else taking a sip?
Nope.
Ram, what you doing? You're observing this conversation between two ancient peoples. It's like two old people talking. Blah blah blah.
Can I hear what's going on from where I'm stood?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's right. It's happening literally right in front of you.
Yeah, I no.
And you still haven't noticed the big ass bear in the corner watching.
Not yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of just watching the bear. I'm not gonna take a sip of the drink, and I'm actually gonna point out to everyone else that there's a bear over there.
Adric starts
Yep,
kind
when
of
you
chuckling
notice,
to
like-
himself. Children these days. Always surprised at the simplest things.
Aye, but you love them all the same.
I suppose, but I can tell you I did not come above the mountain to be some babysitter, and I have a feeling that's what I'm turning into.
How do you think I feel? All the time. He chuckles at this, right? And he sips his poison a little bit more. He turns and looks at the mercenary. He says, "Mercenary, what are you here for?"
Well, I was looking for. Do you know there's a bear over there?
He like looks. He's like, "Nope, never seen him in my life."
Okay.
He is clearly lying.
Okay, man. As long as you can see it. I'm here to find my next mission. I'm trying to slowly make my way back from where my last mission. Stumbled here, and I'm wondering how best I can aid you going forwards.
What can you do?
Aye, lad, what can you do? Boy,
I can hit things from pretty far away as I hold up my crossbow that's loaded. And I'm pretty good with animals, but bears are still quite surprisingly large.
Adric leans over to the older elf and whispers, I remember when they used to have a purpose in their life.
Oh.
And he laughs.
He chuckles at this and he's like, "Oh, it's our job to find it now, isn't it?" He says, "That bear over there, why don't you pet it? Let's see how brave you are, son."
Certainly.
I don't know. The lad looks like he's just gained the ability to walk, if you ask me.
The druid shifts and goes, "Shh," and begins watching you. Green, what do you do as you approach this bear?
It's not letting me move my little icon thing.
Okay.
For whatever reason.
Should be able to. You should be able to.
There you go.
There we go. There we go.
I'm going to slowly walk up to it, just kind of keeping eye contact with the bear, because I've been dared to, and I can't say no. And I would like to roll some sort of animal handling check to see if I can calmly approach the bear and stroke it and ruffle it behind its ear and all that.
Sure. Go ahead. As you approach the bear like shifts slightly, right? It doesn't turn aggressive, but it's clearly staring at you with its golden eyes. This bear is massive, almost double your size. It hasn't stood up aggressively. As you approach, the bear just stares at you. Do you continue moving forward?
Yeah, I can stare down a hellhound without flinching.
Sure.
So I'm pretty resolute in my resolve to go forwards.
Excellent.
So yeah, I'm going to continue kind of slowly, cautiously, not too like hastily or anything like that. Just trying to abide by my patience and because I kind of have some sort of a little bit of history with animals, so I'll just go. Yeah, I'm going to cautiously go forward and ruffle it behind its ear and stroke it and try and befriend the bear best I can.
Sure. Roll it.
Do I need to roll another animal handling check?
Oh yes, this is a skill challenge.
Boom.
You succeeded. 2 out of 3. You do not need to make one. Tell me how you're awesome. How you approach this bear. The bear is calm, cool, collective.
So once I eventually reach my hand out and touch the head of this bear, I give it a quick rustle, and I imagine it just kind of like notices that my hand's on there, that it's a little bit warm, so it just kind of calms itself down. It's not so tense as I just kind of ruffle it behind its ear, and it just kind of start not like we know each other, but like playing around a little bit and being a bit more attentive to it, and not too like frightened or anything like that. Saying, I'll turn back to the elf and say, like, "Hey, it's not too bad."
The bear reaches out and grabs you, right, and gives you like a hug against its chest. Yeah. You are currently, I mean, unless you're going to fight it, bear hugged. You have a new friend.
I like it.
You have a new friend. As this bear kind of just like hugs you, right? It's like sniffing your hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
The druid like turns to Adric and like shoves him, proving that he may have found a place.
Was it me, or were his knees shaking a little too much? Perhaps it was the tea.
None at all. Don't know what you mean.
The druid turns to Ramza. He says, "What about you? What are you good at?"
I'm good at keeping things quiet. Good at say you need something, I'm good at getting it. If you need someone taken out, I'm your guy.
Interesting. So that's maybe why I've never heard of you before.
Well, I mainly lived in the cities with the other races. Haven't been too much time in the forest as most of my people.
Oh, you live in the city of Angakok.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
city folk.
I was a city watchman.
Oh, a city watch. Oh, you must have served your masters, the Grand Maguses, and their tower.
Yeah, but let's just say I'm retired now.
Oh, an independent contractor. You consider becoming part of the Wood Elves?
Maybe in due time. Right now, I'm just kind of on the run from some people that want to come and get me.
Oh, and who are they?
They were fellow disgruntled city watchmen. Just a past dealing that didn't go too well.
Don't tell me you're one of those sympathizers.
Oh, no.
I see the Grand Magus keeps the same sense of humor throughout the ages.
The Grand Magus has changed many times since you were here last, Master Dwarf.
The person may change, but the position never does.
He like chuckles at this. He's like, that is very true. But it is necessary to keep our people safe. Even I know that. There's a bit of a darkness that he says that. The tree, right? It's kind of darkens slightly when he mentions like the Grand Magus, and how many times it's changed, and it is a requirement, a toll that must be paid.
I think I gather your meaning, ancestor elf. I have news that may interest you. I found a remnant of the mixed kingdoms not far from here. Speaks mention of a cure for the curse.
There is no cure.
My ancestors believe that there might be. I'm trying to investigate that as well. What do you know of it?
I know nothing of what your people did. Why would you say that? Why would you
Adric,
think an elf?
Adric doesn't believe him.
Okay, sure.
He
It's
knows that if he's lived this long, he knows something. Just
Sure.
like Adric knows something.
Sure.
It's a 19.
He might know something. What exactly are you looking for? What is it that, what's the telltale sign that you're searching for?
He's searching for any information of the gold mantles of that age, and if this claims that he's found of a cure for the curse really exists.
So he's saying
looking to see if he does know about the gold mantles, and does remember,
He definitely remembers the gold mantles. So there's a duality going on here, right? So when you say like the curse, blah blah blah, he's absolutely speaking the truth in regards to that. However, he seems to be avoiding or dodging the subject in regards to the gold mantles, if that makes sense. Interpret that as you will. So these micro things, right? Micro expressions give him away on his intention, and he's like, I've never heard of them. I don't know what you're talking about.
You and I both know, ancestor elf, that these claims of the gold mantles may be true.
What claims?
That there are still remnants of them hidden above the mountain. And I would know if these claims are true.
I know nothing about them.
Master elf, lying does not become you.
Interesting. Are you calling him a liar?
Adric knows that he knows something about the gold mantles, and knows that denying it isn't going to help anyone in this situation. So he is going to call him out that he knows of the gold mantles and he's not willing to share. Adric will try to express that he can trust him. He'll take a glance around at Ramza and Tobias. He'll lean closer to the elf.
For I am Ulfgar Ashencloak, and I remember them just as you do. You and I know these claims would not be made haphazardly for me to be here.
The elf frowns deeply at this. It is good that you did not go to the Grand Maguses.
I was fortunate I found you, but it will be a waste of my precious time to have come here for naught. I simply seek whether these claims are true and what you know of them, and I shall be on my way. For I feel war is coming.
You should have stayed in your mountain, dwarf. The druid gets up and walks over and dumps out his tea. He takes a deep breath in consideration of all this recent information that you have revealed willingly. He considers what to do next and begins to ponder silently, clearly torn between multiple things.
Adric would like to keep an eye on him. He knows that he has risked a lot sharing as much as he has with this elf in the hopes of gaining the hidden information. So he wants to keep an eye out for any hint of betrayal while this elf is pondering.
What's everybody else doing, by the way? The mood suddenly sours quite a bit as the tea gets dumped, like thrown, right? Tossed. Something that Adric said to this elf clearly turned him off. Clearly turned him off. Whatever was said between them, there was definitely some bitterness, anger, some resentment. What do you guys do?
I'm going to continue kind of fluffing the bear a little bit, but as the tea gets thrown, just kind of stop paying so much attention to the bear, and although still ruffling it, kind of look up and have like a once over at everyone, like look at everyone individually, and then kind of scope out the room just to get the vibe. And once I've got the vibe and the atmosphere, I'm just going to be like watching the dwarf and elf just to see what their actions are.
So you realize like the bear was playing with you earlier, right? However, when the druid throws the tea, the bear stops playing and becomes rigid and tense. The area or the air becomes much more damp and wet. Ramza, go ahead and roll me a knowledge history. As you are 300 years old, you've probably encountered words such as these. So like dwarves, elves, they have an interesting dynamic relationship in the past, right? You know fairly common knowledge in regards to this. Back during about 500 years ago, you know that the dwarves and elves and humans lived in harmony known as the mixed kingdoms. During this time, it was very prosperous and everything else. However, there was the plague. And during this time, the plague ravaged the place, and a lot of people didn't survive. A lot of people died. That's what you remember as this conversation is going on. And this is the dilemma that is currently being talked about. It's about history, right? About what's going on. Your character knows this. What do you do? Currently, the druid is like tense and currently has like the empty cup of tea in his hand. Adric is... What are you doing, Adric? Are you sitting, just watching the old elf?
Yes, he is just... He's letting the elf has his time. He's not meaning to be disrespectful. He knows this is a tense decision for the elf. But he also knows the dangers of sharing what he knows with outside races.
Oh, yes.
and he knows the influence that the dragons and the wyverns have. So he is also a little tense right now, ready for anything to go south, while this elf thinks to himself.
Toby's trying to fluff up the bear, but the bear isn't having any of it, and he is just tense. What are you doing, Ramza?
Kind of get between the dwarf and the elder elf, and I say, let's all just calm down here. We all came here to talk, didn't we? Nothing more. There's no need to argue.
Yeah, go ahead and roll me a persuasion as you're attempting to calm the situation down. The elf turns on you and says, "You were not there. You did not see the dwarves run away and hide. Don't lecture me, young man. You know nothing of what they did."
What I know is that whatever was done in the past, all we can do is move forward. We can't blame the future generations for what happened.
Your words do not seem to convince him as he continues to begin to pace back and forth in consideration of this current intense situation. Your words don't seem to have helped him, but actually might have fueled him on into making worse and worse decisions.
You might want to hold your tongue, lad. This is a conversation for adults.
Do not tell my people what to do, dwarf. You are a guest here. Recognize your position.
Kind of slowly back away, and I just say, okay, and I just kind of watch the chaos brewing.
As you understand, this druid is the archdruid of the Kingdom of Angakok. He outpaces you. He would be the equivalent to the Grand Magus of your city. You are in his territory, and your words of helpfulness did not help. To be clear.
Ancestor of... We both know the times of the past were difficult for all. I understand your hatred for my kind.
It's not hatred. You don't remember, do you?
I'm afraid not, Master Elf. I was in a different place at that time. I knew of it. I knew of the gold mantles, and I know the importance of finding whether these claims are true or not. But I was readying my people for the plague as best as I could.
The elf continues to pace. He says, "The gold mantles were cowards. Fools. They could have helped us, yet they hid in their caves. Fools all. Fools all."
And what of their foolishness, and how might we prevent it in the future, Master Elf?
Your people had powers that could have been useful against the plague, but instead they ran away. And here you are, coming back, is trying to dig up the past, trying to reclaim what you lost, what we lost. And he gestures to him and the other elf. You don't know what we've had to do to stay alive. The arrogance of your people are troubling at best.
Adric, understanding his frustration and the plight of his people, he's a little bit more compassionate than some of the other dwarves. Most of the people of that time have already met the ancestors. He will stand up and he will actually step to a knee.
I, ancestor elf, I have come seeking your aid, not wishing to dredge up more of the painful memories for you. But I'm afraid our people need to understand the past so that we do not make the same mistakes in the future. For I am on my last legs, as you would know. And I must ensure that my people are guided the way that they should, hoping that one day that peace we once all felt may be known once more.
Is anyone help you now? This is a skill challenge, just to be clear. So
This
you
guy
have
just
failed
tried to
one.
attack me, so...
No, he has not attacked anybody. He is currently pacing back and forth. He's clearly angry at this dwarf coming in, asking for help for his cowardly people during the plague. Like, he's making sure, like, you speak elvish, right? Just to be clear.
Yep. Yeah.
You're understanding all of this, right? This elf is, like, mad, pissed off. And he's wanting to reclaim the gold mantles, and it was the gold mantles who ran away, right? So you don't know who these gold mantles are unless you do a knowledge history. Some knowledge of it.
I'll give it a go.
Sure. Yeah, you, like, way back when, you've heard, like, the gold mantles, right? They've been called many things, like the gold star, the gold ace, the gold, whatever's the story be. According to humans, right, these dwarves, right, these mythical beings had their wonderful round table, and they were talking about peace and prosperity, and they minted gold, and your current metallurgy, right, is based off of their work, because they were such skilled craftsmen, right? So these gold mantles, however, there's a dark history behind your knowledge in regards to that. It's said that they joined the plague to fight the other races. So this dwarf is coming in saying, you know, I want to bring back the gold mantle. And this elf's like, yeah, well, yeah, sure, buddy. Sure. You're trying to resurrect something that should be dead for all he cares. Although it might have been a prosperous time, their inevitable betrayal, right? That's your story. The human story is like they betrayed him.
So I'm gonna chime in saying, what's your reason behind wanting the gold mantle so much? I mean, as far as I'm aware, that they're just bad news.
But there's also good to them as well, right? So they had this long period of, like, success, right? Mm-hmm. But at the end, it ultimately fell, and it just came crumbling down, and that was the fall of the Mixed Kingdoms, according to human history.
Yeah.
To be clear here, human history.
So I'm gonna continue. I know they had a good time, and they were fighting for peace and stuff like that. Do you really think it'll be that easy to convince them to stick with that plan if we go and find them?
Adric looks over at Tobias, clearly frustrated. He shakes his head.
Lad, you know nothing of what you speak. Clearly, the humans cannot keep their story straight.
Educate me as far as you're aware.
And why would I trust a stranger with my people's lore? I've already said too much to the likes of you.
As you say that, the elf chuckles and turns to look at you, and he says, I feel the exact same way. He's not smiling, by the way. He's actually frowning. But I, as the DM, am smiling because I see in the circle. Yep.
You should trust me because we don't want to upset the great elf here. We're trying to. I feel like we're trying to get out of here alive with somewhat of a common cause. I mean, we must be bound together somehow. I'm sure we could all help each other out. If you shouldn't trust anyone, excuse me for speaking out, it would be the rogue, knowing what rogues are like. So why not trust me?
Your people did not betray us.
Adric shakes his head, thinking that clearly Tobias knows nothing of what he's talking about.
I know, right?
I mean, he just called the young child elf in the corner shady and untrustworthy, but I'm better than him. So,
I mean,
Adric...
that's not what he's... Okay, if that's how you interpret it, that's fine.
That's how Adric's interpreting it. Adric turns to the older elf.
Spud.
Help me. Yeah, to Spud. Spud, help me prevent the mistakes of our past.
That sounds like a persuasion. He turns and looks at you. He's still not convinced, and he crosses his arms, and he's still like pacing back and forth. And he's saying, why should I help you? Huh? You can't even get along with this human. Sure, we use humans, but we at least use them. You just run away and hide. I mean, what's the point? Why would I spend my efforts, my resources, my people's blood for cowards?
I am not asking for your blood, nor your people. Only your words, Master Elf. Only your words.
He frowns at this. There's always more. Your people have always wanted more.
Adric stays quiet for a second. He scans the room a little bit while the elf is still deciding.
His arms are currently crossed, and he's like looking at like his empty teacup, right? And he like sets it down, and he's like pacing, right? You currently have 1 success and 1 failure. Just to be clear of the current situation. What is Ramza doing in all this? Currently, the Archdruid is accusing this filthy dwarf of always wanting more, right? I just want your words. I just want your help. I mean, this is like common, right? Like people are always like, help me, help me, help me. And, you know, the elves, right? They never get anything back. They have given and given and given, right? And here he is, wanting more.
I look to the older elf and say, just give him a chance. Just hear what you got to say. I think he's a trustworthy guy.
That sounds like a persuasion. Excellent. Oh, I see that one. I see that one right there. No, it's not one. It's a 16. So the druid deflates, right? He's like angry, right? And he's just like, and he like takes this deep breath, and the room starts to lighten, and he like shakes his head, and he's like, perhaps you're right. Perhaps it is time to help. It's not me who is going to help them. He turns and looks at you and smiles. You'll learn. You are going to be tasked with helping them. If it is going to be blood shed, it is going to be your blood. The newest generation. You will be tasked to help these people.
I'll take that. It'll let me use the dwarf, I've been learning in the books I've been reading.
You may want that. You may find out things that will open your eyes. I hope you prove me wrong, Master Dwarf. What about you, mercenary? What's your gambit in all this?
However best I can serve you, sir.
Interesting. Will you take their help, Master Dwarf?
I suppose if I must. As I had expressed earlier, Master Elf, neither of us are qualified babysitters. But
He nods in
I shall trust in your judgment, as I have no other choice. Please, what do you know of the gold mantles?
Besides the normal stuff that they are liars, they
I,
betrayed us,
I,
that they serve the Dark Lord Valseth. Tell me, dwarf, what do you know of Valseth?
At the mention of the Dark Lord being added to Valseth's name, Adric suddenly looks a little tense once more.
I know he is not to my people as he is to yours and the rest of the mixed races.
Are you still defending him? After all these years?
I know not what he has done to the surface, only what he has done beneath the mountain.
And what has he done beneath the mountain?
Forgive me, Master Elf. I do not understand what this has to do with the current whereabouts of the gold mantles.
The Gold Mantle are dead.
Must we do this again, Master Elf? You and I both
exactly
know.
what you're looking for. So, like, what was it that you're actually looking for?
So he's looking for. He thinks that the gold mantles might still be around, and he knows that they've certainly uncovered some of the secrets of the dragons. So he's looking for information on if there are really any of them left alive, because he feels like, because I did the insight rolls before about him saying they're dead, and he could tell that he's lying about that. And so he's looking for any living gold mantles and any of the secrets that they held before they disappeared, or
Okay,
that they have now.
Just to be clear, that the gold mantles, according to this elf, he believes is dead, that they are gone.
Okay, he does
However-
believe that they're dead.
However, he may know of knowledge of where their past residences might have been. So past locations in regards to... Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense.
He believes that they are dead, right?
Right.
So, like, he hasn't seen a dwarf in over 500 years, so he's certain that they're dead. He thinks you're dead, right? He thinks, like,
Right.
you don't exist. So
Right.
he's not lying about that. However,
Right.
you being here makes him question that, right? Like, is that true? He's not as certain as he once was.
Master Elf, my people's records are missing information on what happened to the gold mantles after the fall. I would know more of them and whether these claims of the cure are anything more than foolish dreams.
The cure for magic is a myth. You think our greatest minds would not have come up with a cure yet? You think I would look this way? And once again, he's like old, right, and raggedy. You think I would not look like this had it not been for the curse of magic?
I am not here to question you, Master Elf. Only to find out whether these claims are true. Though there is something I seek, perhaps you would know of.
What is it?
He looks over at the elf and human, still clearly not sure if he can trust these strangers with such sensitive information that he shared, but he's already shared it so far. He sighs.
Gia's tear.
What of it?
I would recover it for my people if possible, that it may be used better than it was.
It was buried long ago.
Would you happen to know where I might find more information on it? Where it was buried? Where it might have been lost to the ages?
So the Archdruid, what's everybody else doing during all this time? Are you guys just listening and eavesdropping? The bear seems to be less tense now, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Back to ruffling its head and playing with it and jostling with it.
Okay. The bear goes back to sniffing your hair, like. Ramza, what are you doing, by the way?
Still kind of taking the temperature in the situation, making sure, everyone's calm. But now that it's going well, I guess I'm just listening.
Your words calmed the druid. However, you, of course, have now been assigned to this company to work with them in regards to moving forward. What are you thinking about right now? This Archdruid just said you're doing this. By the way, you are a high elf, not a wood elf. This Archdruid is going above and beyond his station because you only answer to the Grand Magus, not the Archdruid. You are a city elf, not a wood elf.
I'm fine with this because I'm trying to keep on the move because my character is kind of a dirty past right now that he's trying to get away from. So he's fine with taking this task on.
Excellent. The druid pulls out like this map, It's not like a map of like what you roll out. What it is it's like a. He moves his hand over the oak or the wood, and the wood begins to like move and shift into like a map on this side. And as he's doing that, he's like actually like casting a spell, and the wood shifts and shapes for him, and it actually becomes like 3D, and it begins popping up. And if you pull out your map of hand,
Adric will do that. He'll pull out his map and update it. This is actually, now he feels like it was worth his time because this was part of what he was coming here for, trying to get an updated map, updated information, since he has been under the mountain for centuries and centuries.
He says, "It is here in the Gold Plains." He points to it, right? And he like pushes his finger there into the wood. He pushes his finger into the wood, and the wood begins to shift and shape as he like the druid like shuts his eyes and like begins to concentrate. And he says, "There is currently a human farm above it. There's a horse and a bullywug and mites and Faye." Like shifts slightly at this, and he pulls back his finger as he recognizes. He's like, "How strange! How very, very strange." As he's describing this place, Tobias, go ahead and roll me in knowledge. What would this be? Local nobility? What would this be? History?
Probably history. I mean, it could be nature.
No, as he's describing this place, I want Tobias to roll me a knowledge history.
Oh, great.
As he's describing this place, you're like, I have no idea where this place is. This could be anywhere in the Golden Plains. It's so generic. Yeah, you've never heard of this location. Unfortunately.
So how many farms are in the Golden Plains?
To you, millions.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Adric bows his head.
Thank you, Master Elf, for your assistance. My people will not forget it.
He hands him his cup of the tea and poison that is still mostly full.
If you would be so kind, Master Elf, what has happened to the surface in these last centuries? The last human I knew has gone long ago.
I am sorry to hear that.
I hear rumors of war. Alkaline may be falling soon. What do you know of the movement of the dragons and the wyverns?
The silver dragons are at peace. They sleep in their mountains.
And what of your people, Master Elf? I do not recall them needing the aid of humans.
He kind of shifts uncomfortably at this. Perhaps you could roll an insight.
Perhaps he will.
Yeah.
Nope.
You're not sure. He quickly changes the subject. He says, "Will you be leaving?"
I will be soon, Master Elf. I do not wish to bring any more trouble and turmoil to this land that I haven't already done. You know my people are rare, for the wyverns and the dragons of the north hunt us mercilessly.
When you say wyverns, he spits on the ground. As you say this, he's like, "So, that is why."
I've been doing my best to avoid notice this far, Master Elf. And I would ask that it be left that way. For you understand the troubles and the trials of those wyverns and their masters.
Many of our people have fallen. They seem to delight in the flesh of our kind.
I, as of mine, the primary reason my kind are not known outside of the north.
It would explain a great deal.
So, Adric knows now that his search takes him to the Golden Plains. He would ask polite questions about the current history within the last 50 years.
Sure, go ahead and roll me a persuasion as you're attempting to, I assume, pump him for information about what's been happening recently.
Right.
Sure, go ahead.
And he's trying to do it politely. He knows the situation has been tense already.
Yep.
And he doesn't do very good.
So you get like general gossip, my granddaughter's been really nice. She's been very well. She's been out traveling, making her name in the world. You get like generalizations and nothing of notoriety. Yeah.
What is his granddaughter's name?
Give me a second, and we will see. Because she's on this. Give me a second. As you say that, what is your granddaughter's name? Nope. Did that come up? Nope. Elf comes running in. She has blue hair, and you recognize her, Adrian. She comes running in, and she's like, and she like pauses briefly, and she like looks at like all those new people, a human and everything else, and I think we lost somebody. Yeah, but that's fine. She pauses as she's like, "Hello, Grandpa."
Adric will nod a greeting to her as she walks in.
It's nice to see you made it out safe, lass. You're a little too quick for my kind to keep up.
She kind of like looks at you and is like, "Grandpa, who are these people?" He's like, well, these are my guests, daughter. I welcome them into our home. She like frowns at this and like crosses her arms. And she's like, yeah, we met on the road.
Your granddaughter has a knack for finding the plague. But it is all right. We took care of it for them.
And she like looks down at this, right? On the previous adventure, folks at home and people that are just joining us, this random elf, ran by the party, bringing a zombie and a ghoul upon them. They almost died unexpectedly. I wouldn't have thought that would have happened, but yes, they almost died. This is the same person that brought them. It's like, hi, Grandpa. He's like, will you be staying for the evening? It is not safe to be traveling the woods at night.
If you'll allow me, Master Elf, I would not encroach upon your time more than I have, but I would be honored to stay in such a cherished place as this.
As he looks around and notices the rings and the trees and the history of the earth itself in this place.
Currently, everything is blocked off, so you're just inside this tree. So
there
is currently no way to leave. Is there anything specific as we go down the line that you guys are doing?
Well, Adric would also check with the elf that he can get his stuff back, his weapons, his the pickaxe that was promised to him, and make sure the other human wasn't killed and left by the side of the road, because he'll have need of him. And then he will kind of sit by the fire and relax a little bit.
So there is no fire within this.
He'll
There
sit
is,
by
dancing
something
lights.
and relax.
There's dancing lights. Yeah, there's dancing lights. But there's no fires inside.
Right.
Tobias, what are you doing?
Just
bear is
kind
currently-
of rustling the bear. Kind of clarifying with the elder elf that I presume I'm meant to be tagging along with the dwarf and just kind of helping them out. I'm kind of sorry. I'm asking the elder elf Spud. Do you want me to just go along with those guys, or is there something you kind of need me to do? How can I best help? Because I don't think that was established.
So this elf, right? He says, "Excuse me." He wanders over to you and he says, "You have a kind touch."
Yeah, I seem to have made friends with this bear. Does he or she have a name?
Venom.
Okay then, nice to meet you, Venom. As I ruffle Venom's hair. It's quite a freaky name for a bear, but
No, Venom.
Venom.
Vanim.
Oh, Vanim, right? Okay, right, fair enough. As I rustle its hair and we're playing and jostling about, and is it just a companion, or is it like a pet that you've had for a while, and just meet her wildly in the forest? He or she is so nice and soft.
He kneels down and pets the bear and says, "No, this is my friend. The bear may come and go as he wishes."
As he wishes. So sweet. So yeah. What's the plan? Would you like me to follow the other guys?
You have such short lives. What do you want to do?
I think after having a look at the whole spectacle on the wall, I think it might be a good idea. If he's going to the Golden Plains, it would make sense that someone's there to show him around. After the millions upon millions of farms that there are on the Golden Plains, he might need some help and guidance finding one of them.
Maybe.
So I think it might be best.
It must be very confusing for you.
Very much so. Very much so.
What do you want out of this world?
What do I want out of this world? Well, I'd kind of like to keep that a little to myself for the time being. Just the guys in the room, I don't want them to know too much about me just yet. I don't really know anyone, so best to, keep my cards held close to my chest. But it sure would be nice to venture out with this bear. They seem to be quite nice friends at the moment. I don't know if you've got some sort of property over them, but it'd be a very nice companion.
He rubs your head and says, "Why don't you ask?" Not me. He gestures to the bear.
So as I speak to the bear and kind of want to do some sort of animal handling check to speak to the bear and try and persuade him to come along with me.
Sure.
Adric, overhearing some of this while he's relaxing, he just kind of shakes his head to himself, listening to all of this.
So this bear, right? It doesn't say anything in a reply. It just like grabs you and holds you close, right? The elf kind of chuckles at this as you remain in the bear hug. You get no reply. He turns and looks at the younger elf. What is it that you want?
As of now, I just want to make a living. Maybe find some peace and maybe learn more about the dwarves as I travel along with him. You know, it'd be very interesting to learn about his people, because all I know is what I've read in the books.
Just be careful. You may find the answers that you seek. Is there anything else that you desire?
As of now, no. I'm just glad this came to a peaceful resolution. You know, for a moment I was thought I was gonna have to break up a fight.
Nods in reply. I'm glad that you did say something. It is good that you were here. He like pats you. You do get a sad empathy towards this old elf. You know that he is coming towards the end of his life cycle.
The best thing we can do now is just learn from the mistakes of our past and try to gain new bonds. We can't be isolated from everyone, otherwise we won't learn anything.
Perhaps. Perhaps. He looks tired as you say this. He says, maybe you can bring in that future.
I will do my best. I just kind of rub my eye.
He nods to you before like walking over to like the water, and he begins like putting down bed sheets, right? Like these, the wood begins to like form and manipulate, right? For these like little sleeping areas. And he appears to be wanting to fall asleep. Do you, by the way, drink your poison?
No, I put it in. I put the poison in an empty flask.
Roll me knowledge nature as you're like studying this poison and sniffing it.
You said nature.
It's definitely nature.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't know what this does. Not quite sure what this does.
And I saw both of them drink it, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And they
No effect.
no effect. Okay.
Although you're quite certain that druids are immune to poison, so what do you do? Everybody seems to be turning in. The night will be passing soon. What do you guys do? This granddaughter, she introduces herself as Colin and begins to make meals as the old elf begins to like settle down. You guys doing anything else?
Adric,
I would go on.
Adric will look around, a little confused for a second, and start patting like his armor. And does he still have that gem on him, or did the elves take that as well?
Was it in your equipment?
It would have been attached to his armor, just like his holy symbol was. And he would not have let them take his holy symbol.
So to be clear, you're okay. All right, interesting. Yes, you do have your items on you, or they are returned to you.
Okay.
Yes.
Then he will like to spend some time before he goes to sleep examining this item once more. He knows that it is a relic of his past, of his people's past.
Yes.
And he knows there's more to it. He just hasn't been able to figure it out yet. So he'd like to attempt to figure it out once more.
Roll me knowledge nature and knowledge arcana. You need both.
Nope.
The stone's secrets elude you, Edric. It's frustrating. It's truly frustrating. But yeah. Well, what are you doing, Tobis?
So I'd like to interrupt Adric as he's examining his stone, and we'll walk up to him. Hey, Adric, wasn't it? So I couldn't help but overhear that you wanted to go to the Golden Plains. Fortunately, I'm actually from the Golden Plains, so I might be able to help you out and navigate your way around, trying to help you find these gold mentals or whatever it is you're looking for, if you'd be willing to have me tag along.
Aye, lad, I'll have you along under one condition. You never heard of this place. The things that you hear and the things that you will see do not exist. For there are more dangers than you know in this world.
So I'll let you do all the talking then, I guess.
As far as you're concerned, lad, we are merely travelers who have crossed paths sometime along the road.
That's fine by me. It gives me something to do for a while.
So just to be clear, you're fully aware that he is a dwarf. These are mythical beings, right? The Inquisition has branded them as, like, not human, right? This is clearly a something, right? This is not your normal human person, right?
I mean, as far as Tobias understands it, it talks, it walks, it's got something to do, so I'll just kind of suspiciously follow and investigate for the time being until I kind of figure out a bit more about it. And then just see where that kind of leads me, and hopefully I might learn what dwarves are later down the line, but for the time being I'm just trying to build the relationship at the minute.
Excellent. Anything else?
No more playing with the bear from my part.
The bear, so you're trying to, like, go to sleep, right? And the bear just kind of, like, grabs you and, like, holds you in. You will not be sleeping by yourself tonight. You have a companion keeping you warm.
That's awesome.
Ramza, what are you doing?
I'll look to the group and say, if you wish, I can take first watch while you sleep. As far as I know, humans and dwarves require at least 8 hours of sleep, whereas my kind only need 4 hours of meditation.
That is true. That's very true. However, this is probably the first time that you've been in the woods, correct?
First time.
No.
I would say like my first time in the woods, but this has been like my first time this deep into the woods, and yeah, I haven't spent too much time, so I'm not like as knowledgeable as like a ranger.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Anything else tonight?
No, I'm cuddling up with my bear friend.
Excellent. The bear snores. I'm going to tell you right now. The bear snores.
I will do one thing though,
Sure.
because it's ritual, right? Once a morning and once a night before I go to bed and after I wake up, I'm going to have a ding of my synth fork. Just 'cause I like it. I like the
So
sound.
describe this.
So it's just this really really like bizarre looking piece of metal with it's literally like a guitar tuning fork, but it doesn't look structurally sound or anything like that. And obviously, as you hit it on the floor, it'll resonate, and I like put it to my ear just as like it just calms me down and kind of grounds me for the day. Kind of do it every morning and every night, just as a ding. Right, let's go. A ding, today's off. I'm going to sleep.
You know, lad, given the proper place, I could fix that for you.
I mean, what would you do to it? It's not broken.
I disagree, lad.
I mean, we'll see what happens. As I pocket it and nestle into my bear companion.
The night passes uneventfully as you are safe within the druid circle. In the morning, you are all refreshed. Ramza, you have 4 hours to do stuff. Currently, you see the elf, the older elf named Spud, get up every so often. He steps outside and then comes back inside. Colin's busy doing work, right? You see her take out this backpack and start refilling supplies on the shelves and stuff like that. She has this big backpack, right? And items that are not normally found here are put on the shelves. What do? You have 4 hours before everybody wakes up.
I stroll up to her and say, you need any help with anything?
As she's putting up items, she looks at the bag and she's like, "Do you know where these go?"
No, but if you tell me, I'm a quick learner.
She kind of chuckles at this and she's like, "You're not from around here, are you?"
No, miss. I'm a city elf.
She yeah, you smell like it, all with your perfume and stuff. She continues to start working. She pays you no mind unless you continue to pursue this further.
I go up to the sleeping dwarf and I kind of look at him closer since this is my first time seeing one, and I'm kind of just looking at him and studying him. And I take out my a notebook and I start doing a sketch.
Yeah, he definitely has unique features. You've seen no human look like this. Edric, describe yourself as he draws you.
Adric is an older dwarf. He's got gray, almost white hair, clean beard. He's got what looks like little plates attached to his forehead. It's very strange. It's almost like he sleeps in his armor. A little awkward and lumpy looking on this makeshift bed. Very wrinkled. It's got a big nose, big ears. Otherwise, now that you look at him up close, would really probably only be confused for a human at a distance, at a long distance. So for
lumpy, hairy, short, stocky creatures before you.
for the reference, I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but I've got a picture here.
Are you using your...
In Roll20, on my character sheet, I don't know if you've added my... you can add me to their journal, but not give them editing permission, and then they can click on it and see a picture of my character.
Okay. Are you sure you want to do this? I want to ask double check.
I mean, I'm okay with it. They're not going to have edit permissions. They're not going to be able to edit my character. And it's not like I'm... Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine. And player's journal. There we are.
So you should see like Adric Fireforge, and then when you open it up, all you should be able to see is his picture.
So zoom in on that. The audience at home can see it. Everybody else can see it. All right.
You said we were safe in the this place, but I still kind of feel cautious since this is a new setting for me. So I'm still kind of.
Oh yes, there is no city things. So your people is very productive, right? You always hear like the singing of wood and the clinking of metal. You in the city, they're very close together, right? However, this is nothing like that. It's almost too quiet, right? It's like strangely quiet. Other than like the birds and the birds and the rain, there's very little sound. So it's very, very shell-shocked, right? On what the difference between the city and the woods. And they're not very far apart. Very little separates them.
I take out a my pipe, my wooden pipe, and a pouch of tobacco, and I light it just to ease my anxiety a bit. Start puffing away as I look around like a paranoid war veteran.
Yeah. The elf wakes up, and he says, "It is time for you to leave." He gestures you to pick up the dwarf and the human. Colin goes to pick up... It's dying. The human. The Spud gestures you to pick up Adric.
I kind of go over to Adric and I tap him and say, "Hey, it's time to get up."
So just to be clear, you're going to interrupt his sleep.
I kind of tap him a little more.
Okay. You feel this tapping on you, Adric, as the elf that you have recently met start to wake you up, start coming around. By the way, Colin's like looking at you, kind of curious. Tobias is still asleep in her arms. What do you say to him?
I didn't realize I was muted. That's what I said.
I was like, well, maybe he's like really, really tired. He's like, I can't say anything.
Why do you deprive an old man his beauty rest, lad?
I don't think you could sleep long enough to regain any beauty, good dwarf. But the elder told me to wake you up. It's time to leave.
Elvish children this century clearly have no manners.
Spud chuckles at this and nods in agreement. He says, "It is time for you to leave the woods. I can get you to the edge of the forest. There, you will make it across the river to the Golden Plains."
Adric slowly, very slowly, lifts himself up and adjusts his armor, wipes the bags out from under his eyes.
I thank you for your hospitality, Master Elf. My people will not forget this. Please, lead the way.
So he offers his hand to you, and he says, "Take each other's hands." Colin, still holding Topaz in her arms, kind of like gestures, and like they take each other's hands, and they're like,
Adric follows the elf's instruction. He feels like if he's rested this long without being captured and ambushed, then he can probably trust this elf a little more than he thought.
So in this circle, Ramses, what are you doing?
I look to the elder and say, "Do I need to give him blindfolds?"
He shakes his head no.
All right.
So we will be traveling through the woods, through the roots.
I take one more puff out of my pipe and then I tap it on my boot and empty out the tobacco and pack it away and say, "I'm ready."
So in the circle, you all start to begin to melt into the wood, right? And you guys feel like this pressure, this intense pressure on you. And then all of a sudden you come out of it. And you are currently on the edge of the woods. The city, the river of Helena, a Hellenistic river, is before you. A massive, wide river. Let's go ahead and move you over. There you go.
You wouldn't happen to know of a good way to get across, would you, Master Elf?
He says swim.
Adric laughs.
Aye, my people are not known for their skill in swimming. Perhaps you are just trying to get rid of us after all.
As he kind of chuckles under his breath.
The elf chuckles back and gestures for you. He's not sure how you're going to make it across, but he says, "I wish you good luck, Master Dwarf."
Adric nods as he turns and just lets out a sigh as he now has to find a way in the middle of the night to get across the river.
It is now currently almost morning, by the way.
Okay.
So the night had passed, right? And towards the end of it, Tobas is gently put down on the ground, right?
Right.
And he's still asleep, right?
Yeah.
And then the druid and his granddaughter both held hands, and then they sink back into the earth, as if you were never there. Tobas, you wake up to find you're no longer in the woods. You somehow suddenly appeared next to a river, as if you, at least, as if the night had just gone
How
by.
did I get here? And why are we? I thought we were in a tree. Oh,
A small child carried you, lad. Apparently you're lighter than you look.
a small child carried me. I know my gear.
Sounds like some crazy shit, man. Sounds like some crazy stuff. A small child.
That is absurd. How on earth do you expect me to believe a child?
All right, lad.
The edge of the
All
river.
right. Shake it off. We've got stuff to do.
I'm
You
sh-
know a way across this river.
build a raft of some sort. Is there anything?
And where would you get such a raft, lad? You said you know these regions.
Well, are there? Can I see any trees about that, or any bushes or anything like that that we can look into?
Just to be clear, you're wanting to chop down the forest.
Oh yeah, no, that's the elves forest. Isn't it?
Just to be clear.
Adric is
Just
not.
visit. Yep. Just to be clear, that's what you're proposing.
How fast is this current of the river?
So it is wide, not deep. It is massive. A good 200-300 feet, depending on where you're at.
Well,
It's a long ways.
the banks are high right now as well. It's been raining
It's
for
raining.
days.
So it's not necessarily the current that will kill you. It's what's under the water.
Surely it would be a good idea just to stick to the bank and follow the river to the Golden Plains.
So you know that the
Adric-
Golden Plains are right across.
Adric's
Maybe if
shaking
we
his head
down,
at the
we can
situation.
find a bridge.
You would have made it right there. So you guys are currently right there.
Right.
The river is currently blocking your path to head west.
How far is it across the river?
200 to 300 feet, which would be about 500 to 600 meters. 400 to 500 meters.
Is the Elder Druid still with us?
No,
Yeah.
they left.
Okay.
Adric's going to look left and right
Thomas.
down the river. Does he
Thomas.
see... Sorry, go ahead.
All right. Thomas, as you're like, hey, what the hell's going on? You notice that there is a patch of fur in your pocket.
I take out the patch of fur and investigate and try and. Why is there a patch of fur in my pocket? Is it the same fur from the bear? I've got the bear's fur in my pocket. Why? I'm so confused. Can I roll some sort of investigation or insight on there to see
Sure.
why I've got?
Sure.
Which one would it be?
First roll me a die 10. Okay.
And then do I need to roll another one?
What'd you roll for your investigation?
Oh, I need to do 21.
Excellent. You have the strong feeling that if you use these furs, it might be able to summon a bear ally to you.
How do I use? Right, I'm going to see if I can somehow use these furs to summon a bear. I've got no idea what I'm doing or how to do it, but I'm just
There
kind of.
are currently 4 tufts of hair.
You might want to save those, lad, for when we need them.
Do you know what this is?
I imagine, if it's not yours, it was given to you by the druid. I don't think tufts of fur are gonna help us get across this river.
But if a bear was to carry me, it might.
Adric is going to shake his head, wondering, just dumbfounded still that he ended up being a babysitter for children, as he looks left and right down the river, looking for a barge. Does he see any travel coming through down the river?
Roll me a percentage dice, a D100.
Coming right up.
There is no barge on the river today.
How far away is he from the docks?
1, 2, 3, 4. About 4 days travel.
He's wondering if it's going to be more useful for us to go back to the docks and just get a rowboat across the banks.
You saw no rowboats there.
Okay, so the pirates
Just to be clear.
didn't have... Okay.
If they are, they're hidden. I mean, you did not see it.
He sighs very, very heavily as he starts walking into the water.
Are you mad, Mr. Small Person? Do you know
I've got-
you haven't?
I've got places to be, lad. I don't have time to waste my life walking down a river to come to an ocean. Clearly, you don't know your way around this place either. No, this is not my first choice, but it's better than hoping a couple of bears will drag us across.
Go ahead and roll me a swim check. Athletics or acrobatics? It'd be athletics. It'd be athletics. You begin swimming across. This will be a skill challenge. You will take 3 successes. So you begin treading water, right? You're making no progression. He seems to be struggling. Tobus, Ramses, what are you guys doing as you're watching this guy treading water, slowly getting carried downstream?
I'm going to turn to Ramza. Do you think we should probably like rescue him, or should we just let him go?
I'll look towards him and look at the dwarf. And how's he doing?
He's not drowning, but he is definitely struggling.
Let's see if he can make it across.
Oh man, okay. Adric, as you're struggling in the water, go ahead, roll me another athletics. Excellent. You start to go with the current instead of fighting against it. So you start going down river with it, right? So you're starting to become much more natural. He begins to succeed, guys. He's actually starting to make headway. He's lucky enough that like a log is floating by, and he like grabs onto the log, right? And then he just starts kicking with his back legs. This seems to help him quite a bit. All right. What do you do next, Adric? You have 1 success and 1 failure.
He's going to mutter a prayer to the ancestors under his breath, casting guidance on himself as he tries to make it to the farthest bank.
Excellent. Go ahead and roll it. So the weight of you and the wood, as you were successfully doing it, so as you're like casting your spell, some water gets in your mouth and you say something wrong, and the wood busts, right? You are currently in the middle of the river, struggling. What is everybody else doing? As he's in some trouble now. He's in the middle of the river now. What are you guys doing?
We should probably like. I don't know why I'm saying this. We should probably jump after him. This guy's a madman.
Helping each other does exist. Remember the help action.
Do we help this small Adric thing?
I jump straight into the water and
Excellent.
I try to go help him.
Go ahead and roll me that athletics check.
Wow. Okay then.
Kaploosh. Excellent. Yeah. Tell me what you did as a child that made you so damn good.
In the past, I was in the military, and I was a scout, so I did a lot of stamina-based exercises.
Oh, you start swimming. Roll me another athletics as you continue to make your progression across towards Adric. Yes. So you finally make it to Adric, right? You're both in the middle of the stream. Thomas, they seem to be leaving you behind as the river is slowly carrying them away. What are you doing as they finally reach each other?
I'm going to do a running long jump and try and dive into the stream after them. I'm not going to be left behind.
Excellent.
Making sure that I've got me crossbow holstered and all that sort of stuff, and just going to kind of dive in after them. Don't really have much choice, do I?
Take a deep breath. The water is cold. These are mountain-fed rivers.
So this is an athletics, right?
It is definitely athletics. Yes, you dive into the water. It's cold. All your equipment remains on you. Go ahead and give me another athletics as you continue to paddle, 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 paddle. Uh-oh. You're starting to struggle. The current finally catches you, right? It's an underwater current. It captures you and begins to drag you under. You have one success and one failure. What would you like to do?
I'm just going to try and paddle again, I suppose. Try and catch up with the other two in front of me so that I can use those and we can have some sort of teamwork to try and get ourselves out of this sticky situation.
Excellent.
Yes.
There we go. Everybody is in the middle of the river. Everyone has met you, Edric. You're still struggling, right? You're like, right? But they finally got you. They both have you. What do you guys do?
As I'm swimming, I'll be paddling and I'll be trying to like get my breath. And be like, why was this a good idea?
So Adric's fairly fit. It's just been a bout of bad luck that he's not been able to keep swimming. So
you are struggling. You are having some issues. You are not used to this moving water at all. You're used to like water just not moving, right?
Right. So he's going to let's see. It's too late for any real planning, so we're just going to keep swimming.
That sounds good to me. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. You guys are currently in the middle of the river. Who's doing what?
I'm gonna try
Don't
and
forget the help action.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and swim. Try and like gather us together, and try and like swim towards away from the bank that we just came from. So obviously get to the other side. Try and like swim us like both towards all three of us towards the edge, shouting over the like course of the river, "Come on, we need to get to the other side!" As I'm trying to like bring everyone along with me.
Ramza, are you helping? Are you doing the help action to give advantage? And Adric, are you giving a blessing to this human to hopefully get you guys across?
Adric's going to sigh as once again he's put in these compromising positions.
Oh God, help me! Oh God, help me!
And he does pray for the ancestors' guidance once more, casting guidance on, I guess, Tobias. He doesn't really trust this weak, light human to get him across the water, but he doesn't have a choice.
Ramza, how are you helping?
I kind of like behind them, kind of just trying to like push them as I'm kicking with my feet as hard as I can.
So let's roll that sweet roll. You have the blessing of the gods plus aid. You should be able to do this. Then roll a die 4 for the plus. Oh my gosh. Roll a die 4.
Oh, that wasn't. Oh yeah.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so the gods are looking out for you, right? The gods are honestly looking out for you. You guys slowly, creepily, painfully make it across. Everyone takes 1 level of exhaustion, as this is just tons of effort. Swimming is something that you guys are not used to.
How do I mark
Right,
exhaustion?
Just something you write down. You need a long rest.
You just keep track of it. There's no button for that on Roll20.
You just take 1 level of exhaustion, as it's like you're in your armor. You're doing a marathon across this river. You guys got this. You guys just take 1 level of exhaustion, as it was just too much. You guys made it across in less than half hour, but you guys make it.
Adric squeezes out some of the water from his cloak and his armor.
Aye, lad. That cut our time down by quite a bit. Now we can make some real progress.
I am exhausted trying to save you, right? Can we just take a breather for a minute?
Adric laughs.
Lad, I thought you're supposed to know the wilderness. You know it's going to take us a while to recover from this. There's no harm in making a few more feet.
Oh,
Are you
just slow
going to
down
continue?
like a second. We need to rest. Please?
Lad, it's going to take us a whole day to rest from this. We can gain a few more miles before that happens and be just as fine.
Plus, while we're moving, clothes will dry from our motion.
Besides, lad, we're next to a river. Stopping now would mean we'd be in the same situation by morning.
Fine then, as we keep going forward.
Go ahead and place yourselves. Where do you move?
I'm following the dwarf, or small person.
Are you assisting on this travel?
Yeah.
Excellent. You have advantage on this. Tell me how you're helping, Thomas.
As we're all just kind of exhausted, kind of knowing grasslands, I'm just kind of pointing the right path to, like, through the shrubbery and all that sort of stuff.
Excellent. Roll that sweet survival. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Wow, the dice tonight have been brutal on you guys. But hey, you guys succeeded on a major find. Excellent. All right. You guys see smoke in the distance. It seems that something might be on fire. You're not quite sure. Everybody roll me a perception. You guys are looking out over the Golden Plains.
Wait, no, hang on. Let me just read something real quick.
You might have advantage here, Ranger. Make perception rolls. On favorite terrain.
My proficiency bonus is double. So that would be
Doesn't help.
still one.
Yeah. Yep. Still one. Yep. Okay. You're not quite sure what's on fire, but something in the distance is on fire.
Aye, lads. I think it's best for us to mind our steps and try to progress a little quieter than we have.
I think you're probably right.
You don't want to go check it out and see what's there? People might need some help.
Not with these rolls tonight. Not with these rolls tonight. I think we're just going to sit here and sleep. That's what we're going to do.
Oh, are we all stealth then? Do we all need to stealth?
So you guys rolled an encounter. You guys... So the question is, do you guys head towards the fire or not? That's the question. You guys don't see anything other than that there is fire in the distance. So you can see from about 4 miles, right? In the distance. And like 4 miles away, you could probably make it, or you could probably see what's going on if you got closer, or you guys can just keep going on.
Are we, whispering to the group, are we going to investigate the smoke, or are we just going to continue on our way?
I'll leave it up to you, lads. I've already done my heroic days.
I say we check it out. Just see what it is. It's on the way there anyway.
You go scout ahead then.
All right.
So who's going and who's staying?
I was going to stay with the dwarf until we know what's further ahead.
Okay. Ramza, you're going forth, correct?
Yes, I'm gonna kind of sneak over. Like once I get close enough, because you said it was like 4 miles away. Once I get close enough, I'm gonna be really stealthy.
So within 3 miles, go ahead and roll me a perception.
We will probably follow behind Ramza. We're not going to be 4 miles away if something bad happens.
Yeah.
We're going to probably be about 140 feet away,
Okay.
trying to duck in and out of cover if there's such a thing.
I need to be right back.
Ramza, you notice that on top of like a small bank or a small knoll, as you're getting on top of it and like crawling towards and up and over it, you notice that there is a farmhouse that is currently on fire. With your natural 20, you see a man who is currently looks like he's digging graves.
Is he the only person that I can see?
With your natural 20, that is the only person that you can see. You are currently 3 miles away.
And he's just digging graves while this place is on fire?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I'm gonna go back to Adric and say I only see a place on fire, but just one man digging graves calmly. Nothing else.
Was this man wearing a blindfold, lad?
Was he wearing a blindfold?
With your natural 20, no. He was not wearing a blindfold. But he wasn't calmly digging graves. It looks like he was crying. His face was like red. Yeah. Let's see what else can I... Give me a second. Let me look at the area. Let's see if I can give you any better description. You see lumber. The place is currently on fire. He is currently digging graves. You see like a fire pit as well. 2 miles away. You see stacks of lumber. You see 2 trees. It seems to have like a small like courtyard, or not courtyard, but a garden of flowers. You see a wheelbarrow. Let's see what else. Yeah, 2 or 3 trees, maybe yeah, that's what you see.
You want to go talk to him, or you want to pass him by?
To you guys.
I told you, lads, it's your call. I've already had my heroic days and they're long gone. But if you wish to investigate, you'll have me with you.
What about you, Tobias?
Okay. So what is everybody doing?
But sorry, what did we just see the one person, or did we see multiple people?
So as Rez is like describing the place, he sees a house that's currently on fire, a fire pit. He sees lumber in the yards. He sees like a plantery of like different flowers. A man is currently appears to be like digging like a grave. His face is red and he seems to be crying. That's what you got from the natural 20. And don't forget that was 3 miles away. He's got some eagle eyes on him. That's pretty good description, though. That's pretty good. That's spot on.
We don't know what we're dealing with, and we have things to do.
All right, if that's what if you just want to pass by, I was on the task to make sure you guys make it.
Makes sense.
Adric will look to the group.
I don't know if we should make camp here or not. If we have more fire and smoke like we need, whatever has done that might find us. I know this region has plenty of gnolls. I have not run into them yet, but I know it is only a matter of time.
Excellent. So are you guys making camp for the night? Here.
Adric is looking to Tobias, trying to offer him a chance to show his stuff as a ranger who knows the area.
Yeah, so can I like roll a intelligence check to recall what exactly I know about trying to keep camp on like grasslands and stuff, seeing if there's like a better place or anything like that?
Sure, yeah. Go ahead and roll me an investigation. You have advantage because you are, yeah. So you know that on the Golden Plains, when you see smoke, there's usually trouble. So if you stay here, if you remain here, mind you guys still have 1 level exhaustion, you will likely draw attention.
Okay.
So if you remain here, the fire, the smoke, will be seen from miles away, right? So if there are baddies around, right, it will either do 2 things, right? It'll bring in scavengers, and it'll bring in gnolls, right? So what would you guys like to do?
Okay, so I'm going to relay that information back to the party. So the fire that's a few miles away is probably already drawing attention. Now, if we make camp here, the fire will bring more attention to us as well as them, which obviously isn't something we want, especially considering how tired we all are. If we keep going a few more miles west, I think it was minutes ago. If we head a few more miles west, we should be able to find a bigger hill that we can set camp behind. And in the dark of night, they'll only see the fire rather than the smoke.
So let's be clear. Are you going to continue your travels? You're not going to rest?
Yeah.
Excellent. Take another point of exhaustion as you force march your way into the next area. Move yourself. You guys currently have 2 levels of exhaustion, and another day passes.
Nope, that is not what I meant to do. So Adric is letting Tobias lead the way. Tobias should know the area better than he does. And Tobias knows roughly where we're going anyways. So he's just going to let him lead the way. And as such, you can move our token where we need to go.
That's where you're currently located. For first off, you need a roll for the night. As you're traveling at night, by the way.
Adric thinks in the morning we might want to try to rest.
Yeah, definitely. I just didn't want to, like, kind of set a camp where we'd be attracting people. So I'm happy to, like, rest for a day if that's what we need to do.
Mm-hmm. So roll for that night, survival.
Uh,
I believe you don't get advantage here. You're fine. The night passes uneventfully, and it becomes day. You guys take a breath as the sun finally rises over the horizon. What do you guys do?
so I presume we've had, how many rations have we had like across the day
So
so far?
currently, you see here, it's only been 2 days. The elves would have fed you, right, that night, the tea and stuff like that. So they would have fed you there. So two,
Just two so far.
just 2 rations.
Okay, sweet. As we once we've recovered, I presume we're gonna like rest our levels of exhaustion off.
Is that what you're doing? It is currently daytime.
Yeah. Well, I'm asking the camp what should we do? Progress or rest?
Adric is very, very worn out and exhausted now. His last sleep was interrupted, and he hasn't rested in days. But he thinks we should try to conceal our camp as at least as we get some sleep and try to recover as best as we can. He asked if anybody has any ideas on watches since it's during the day. He does know that roving bands of gnolls are known to come through the plains along with other manner of creatures that he's run into already in his travels.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we're all in no manner to really keep watch.
You're all exhausted, yep. So go ahead and roll me that sweet survival as you guys attempt to find a good place to rest. Do not have advantage here.
So 15.
Good enough. You guys find camp, and you guys shut your eyes and finally get some rest. That night finally rolls around, and you guys are well rested. What would you like to do?
So we got rid of our exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
Did we get rid of both levels or just the one level?
I believe it's exhaustion's the entire thing, right? Long rest gets rid of the entire condition. I'm pretty sure it does. I'm going to say that it got rid of all of it.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to make an executive decision. It got rid of all of it.
I'm gonna ting my my synth fork for the start of the day.
Excellent.
I'm gonna spend some time eating another ration, and then we kind of head more westerly, I imagine.
Okay. Place yourselves. By the way, you are traveling at night. Just to be clear.
As you travel, Adric will aid us in will aid you in the survival, since he can see easily in the dark, whereas Tobias will have some trouble.
Cool.
Excellent. Anything else?
Can I forage for some food for everyone? I'll get.
You may make a survival roll as you're attempting to gather supplies and wander about. It is currently nighttime.
Hang on, I've got a thing about foraging.
Yes, you should have some sort of advantage here.
So yeah, when I forage, I gain twice as much food as I normally would.
Cool.
But I don't get advantage.
So if you succeed, you'll get a die 6 of resources if you succeed. Yep. You succeed. And roll me a die 6, and this doubles.
So I got 4 like berries.
Well, tell me what you get. You don't necessarily have to have, this is food, right? This is rations. So,
Just picking the right like herbs and leaves and whatnot, the right sort of shrubbery that is kind of. I don't know where like lettuce is. I wouldn't be like foraging through a farm or anything like that. But just the right herbs that you'll pick off like trees, like rosemary, I guess. I don't know what you can eat really, but yeah, just berries and leaves and stuff like that.
excellent.
As you're like walking through like like high grass field and you're a kid and you like pull your finger across like corn and it like gets it all bunched up in your finger sort of thing. Have you ever done that?
I have.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that. So
Ouch.
just picking things like that and just kind of examining them and then eating them, I guess, or storing them.
It is good food. The plains provide. Are you guys doing anything else?
Adrix, not. He's every once in a while he'll check his map that he copied down from the druid, make sure that he's on the right path towards the location as best as he can. He knows that the Great Plains are difficult to navigate, but he wants to, like he was doing previously, make sure that he's trying to follow all the landmarks and we're traveling in the right direction.
Where are you guys going next?
So, are we going to make camp for the day, like we have been doing? Are we going to keep the travel by night and sleep by day?
I think we want to get back to the sleep by night, travel by day cycle, so we'll go traveling another night to get back to that rhythm.
Okay, that's going to potentially exhaust us if we force march again through the day. Just
Well,
putting that out there.
we reset our exhaustion, didn't we? So we'll only have one level.
You have 0 levels. You have no exhaustion.
But if we were to travel through
You
the
took a
night,
long rest, so you took a long rest. So you rested.
Right.
So-
He's saying instead of making camp for the day, right? Because we would need to make camp for the day, to force march through the day,
Yes.
which would
So
give
you'd be either
us.
setting it back, or you can rest and then do it. Right?
yeah, to reset it back unless anyone else has got any objections.
Any objections?
I mean, besides the fact that it's going to be easier for us to ambush. I mean, Adrix, fine either way. I mean, he can see better than the either of you at night, but Tobias also wouldn't be able to see very much at night at all.
I have some good news and I have some bad news.
Uh-huh.
The good news is that you start to leave the Golden Plains. It begins to thin out and sand begins to take its shape. You are beginning to enter into the endless desert.
As Adrix looking at his map, he points it to Tobias.
I'm pretty sure we're not going the right way, lad.
Currently, it is still plains. However, if you continue heading northwest, it will surely turn into desert. In the distant horizon, as you guys were standing guard and keeping watch, you notice lights in the distance.
Where is it we're trying to get to in the Golden Plains?
To the north, you come to the conclusion that that might be the city of Ravenshaven.
Where are the gold mantles?
Actually, to the northwest.
Okay, so we've gone west a little bit. Now we'll just head north quite a lot.
Place yourselves.
Oh,
You have entered into the endless desert. Things have gotten pretty dry. Any soil that was once moist has now evaporated. The rain you have left behind. Your skin begins to dry out and become brittle. You feel like yourself, like the land itself, is sucking out your moisture. The change is quite drastic.
Onwards and upwards, I guess. Unless anyone else is.
I believe you need to roll me a survival roll for this first area.
Yes.
Yep. You do not have advantage here.
No, just the 15.
But you're fine. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. To the north, you see the lights becoming more and more apparent. Clearly, that is the city of Ravenshaven. It's not very big. But in the flat plains, the flat desert of sand and waste, you see it.
Are we continuing towards Ravenshaven?
Well, it's still nighttime. Are you guys going to force march?
Or no? We're resting.
Excellent. Go ahead and roll me a survival roll. Excellent. Place yourselves as you continue forward. That night you have no encounters whatsoever.
Awesome.
Oop. There we go. You have reached the city. Oh, nope. 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 There we go.
Ready to do another one?
Boom. Boom. There we go. You have reached the city of Ravenshaven. Sorry, I did it northwest. Northwest. And we will flip it over to the city of Ravenshaven. Come on. Where are you at? Where are you at? Should be right here. Yeah. And that will be in the next episode. Hope you guys had fun. You guys reached the city of Ravenshaven and the endless desert. Mud huts. Simple structures made out of clay, sand, you name it, is in the horizon. You approach the city of the exiles. Bye.